to the September 25th Public Safety Facility Advisory Committee. Yeah, not there yet.
Okay.
Can I have a roll call of voting members? Craig Wilbert, co-chair, present.
David Martindale.
Ryan Flanders, present.
Don Davis is currently absent. We expect him on Zoom momentarily. So we have 3 for quorum. Thank you. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Go ahead.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Just some order of business. We need to approve the August 6th meeting minutes. I was not present for this meeting, so I have to recuse myself from any vote or acceptance.
I move that we accept these minutes of August 6th, 2025.
I'm fine with that. We're just an all in favor instead of a second, Ryan, if you have comment.
I'm okay with that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those have passed. I see approving a different set of meetings, but I don't have those.
We do not have a number.
Not available.
Were they drafted? Or are they just not?
I haven't received them yet, no.
No, not since, yeah.
You have the information though, you've recorded it? Okay.
Yeah, it's out there.
Okay, thank you. So we have a few things that are very technical and are just being put out for consideration. So this information has to do with certain conditions at the existing police facility and certain reports and testing that has been done there over several months. The mold reports that we have received, I am not personally an expert in mold, so I see there are some levels that are high and there are some levels of carbon dioxide that seem high, but I am not a scientist, so I'm just wondering, do we have like I guess there's a conclusion here.
So, just looking at this report the other day, it seems as though they do a nice job of summarizing the issue. I see in this one, seems to be a few more items. It looks to be the actual measurement values and things on this. But if you flip to the last page here, it just very clearly shows you, things that are in excess of what's allowed. So, I mean, to me, it's things that need to be remediated. And also it just goes to provides further evidence of the conditions that they are currently working and functioning within. Things that I would expect to get remediated, not necessarily this week, but something that someone needs to have a plan for, whether that's the town manager or whether that is somebody else, but there needs to become a plan for what's going to be done for this.
I can say from my own experience, I've experienced a mold shutdown in a public facility, not a public safety facility, but I have, and I have seen the impact of emergency shutdowns, which can happen through union complaints. A union complaint can shut down a building.
So to give a little bit of a backstory, since this is now a public report, the Police Association took it upon themselves to get mold test kits through Home Depot. They swabbed multiple locations through the building and sent them to a lab. That lab came back with heavy presence of Aspergillus mold, which is like a penicillin. Several officers have complained about illness symptoms and that they don't feel well when they come in the building. Several of my officers are allergic to penicillin, ironically. I reported this to the town, what do you think, Jeff, like 7 months ago at a Maya safety meeting. I reported those findings. I requested mold testing to be conducted by a company that was a little bit more reliable than maybe a Home Depot test kit, even though I feel like those lab results were pretty solid. And Jeff was able to secure that testing, so thank you, Jeff, for that. As you can see, it came back, and there's mold samplings in every sample. And I will say that we did get a donation temporarily from Don Davis of a large commercial filter. So I don't have a lot of faith in air quality currently, because we have a filter in the hallway that is filtering air, which is, thank you, Don Davis.
But that was there before the test?
They did swabs. This was not swabs, this was airborne. I requested swabs, that was not done. So airborne is great, but we have a filtration system sitting in the hallway because of the generosity of Don. So Aspergillus mold came back in my office. I will tell you that came back in every sample that was submitted by the union, and a heavy presence of it. The carbon dioxide set their alarm off in dispatch. We don't know why. We're kind of confused as to why. We would have thought that would have been down lower, but my office, Becky's office, and dispatch had a heavy presence of carbon dioxide. And you know, while the levels of mold aren't, you know, people aren't jumping off bridges telling me, oh my gosh, those are so high. There is mold in our building making our officers sick. Like, I don't know how else we need to discuss that. They're present, they've been present ×2 with 2 different tests. I will tell you that we met with the building inspector. He has requested or suggested that the town test for radon presence because we're in the basement with no ventilation. He does feel that is a probable presence. If we get a test, and Jeff was, as normal, fantastic with his work, and I appreciate you. I always say that out loud because Jeff does not have a magic wand, but I will tell you he's pretty close to having one. So Jeff immediately jumped into that, and we're looking into getting radon tested. I mean, I didn't know anything about radon. Building inspector thought that was a significant, based on this report findings with no ventilation in the basement, water damage, and being in the basement, that it's a probable. If that comes back, that there's radon in the basement, we have to leave. We cannot stay there any longer. I just don't know what it's gonna take for the town to actually take action. Everybody's aware of it. I just don't know what we're gonna do about it. I just don't have those answers. So,
Deanna, I'm reading, as you're talking,
Yeah.
I'm reading and digesting this. So
yeah,
the recommendations clearly are not easy fixes.
They're not.
None of them are
Correct.
an easy fix and require substantial money and disruption to your operation.
Right.
So I have to say, that's not very positive for me because there's nothing other than changing out a mechanical air system.
which was voted down.
And mind you, if you're only in that
what we do.
building for a few years because you're going to be moving out, so
Right.
we're fixing something and putting something in.
Yeah.
It-
I get it, and that's what I'm saying, like, if I felt more optimistic that this was gonna happen, you know, because I've been all along saying I hate to see tax money wasted on a significant cost like that, but we're no closer to a location or building than we were a year ago. So, you know what I mean, at what point does this become emergent to anyone that we're not keeping people safe? So, and that's only one report that we have to discuss today, so.
So, I mean, that's a lot of information, a lot to digest, and I guess maybe I'm starting to come around to the conclusion that although we need a new police station and that has to be planned and executed, we need a temporary plan to keep you in the building that you're obviously not capable of being in.
I will say Jeff and Terry were great about coming up with a potential fix
Okay.
that they're discussing, so they have been very, you know, Jeff was, again, the magic wand came out and he came up with a solution. Terry was on board with looking into that, so, I mean, I definitely appreciate the both of them for that. I mean, again, this is a terrible situation. Everybody's trying to figure out what are we gonna do about it. So it's not an easy fix, it's not an immediate fix. If there's radon present, we're gonna be forced into an immediate situation, I think. I think that's how that works. I think we have to.
Right now, they'll give you a notice to fix it, but in your case,
Yeah.
you need ventilation, which you
Right.
don't have, so it's
It's like,
mechanical.
you have enough pressure that it pushes
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah,
out.
you need a fan system and the discharge, it's not
Yeah.
easy and it's invasive to your building.
Right,
So-
so, the one thing with one source of mold was indoors, and I think that was the more concerning. That's the aspergillus mold. That was also the one that the union found in every sampling they sent in, and it was heavy presence of it. So while their air quality picked it up, I think it's everywhere. They only picked it up in my office, it's everywhere. Because when they swabbed for it, it came back heavy everywhere. So I do believe that's more than just in my office.
Did Ecogenesis give you any verbal directives or suggestions or?
I spoke with them today just to confirm a few things. And he said, the biggest thing that we need to do is ventilation. And the CO, he did say the CO2 is the more present issue at hand in that, but putting in any type of fresh air ventilation should alleviate whatever is there for mold as well.
And how about the gutters?
What
Gutters,
The guttering
Yes.
project,
I am,
it can't hurt.
no, it's not gonna hurt. We do have the money, the funding for that, so.
Yeah, it's good. Hopefully you're proceeding here to get it done before winter sets in, now that we got the appropriation.
I was going to offer that, it was going to go under 48 hours, but you have another report that you just received, and I'd like to just bundle them into the same topic.
Can I go over that? You ready for that? Yep. Okay, so on Tuesday, the DPH, Department of Public Health, came in and did an unannounced cell inspection, which they typically do annually, although this was our second one this year. Our first one was in January. They do not notify us. They do not tell us they're coming. It's kind of the point. And they did a cell inspection, and for the first time ever, so I know there's been a lot of questions about Sally ports in our thing. And again, I had never talked to this person until the following day. So she cited us for our detainees entering through public entrance. You cannot have arrestees coming through a public entrance, so a Sally port is required. Whether it's a Sally port or a separate entrance, we have no separate entrances. Several of you have seen tours of our police station. You know that there are no other entrances that are not public entrances. So that was a physical facility violation. I have 21 days to issue a correction plan. There is no correction plan. I'm not really sure how to fix.
Like have a hatch to back.
Like we're gonna put a coal chute or something. So we also got violated for hot water, which again, Jeff is already on, and some, part of it says the security device, the electronic security device readout, they already have that. That was given to them by the next day. And that's just our watchmen. So when you do have a prisoner in the cell, you have to check them in. They already have that. There was no violation with that, but because we couldn't print it out at that moment.
Okay, so Deanna,
Yeah,
so
please.
just for clarification on this, what are violations, no violations, or an A on this? Because I don't see like an X or a check mark, it's just a
So,
square or a circle.
The violation, on my report, it actually shows, in my computer, it shows the X's through the violation.
Oh, I think that's, see, Brian, I think that's like a glitch.
Yeah.
That's
it's
a
just-
different icon than that is, so that must be a check.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's how I'm reading it.
that's fine, just like three.
So yeah, that was the first time we've ever been cited for that, and I actually questioned her on that because obviously we've never had a separate entrance for prisoners. And she gave me a letter actually today, which I did not bring with me because my day has been amazing. So it went through and listed all the violations of our cells, but we already know that. I don't think we need to rehash it.
Right.
But
The
you
hot
know,
water, Deanna, I mean, or maybe Jeff knows this, is this a systemic issue with the building where you're having problems with temperature in general?
I haven't had any complaints.
that was our
about
first time
water,
ever being cited for
so
that.
I don't,
Well, temperature by Mass Health Code has to be 112 or higher
We
for
were-
purposes of washing.
I mean, it might be that sink is a little further away from the heater and it might take.
Yeah.
I probably find out if it's bad.
Like the bathroom, the public bathroom just in from the library entrance, the one that the library uses. I've stood there, turned the hot water on and waited like 5 to 10 minutes for it to warm up.
Yeah.
You
It's not real
probably
good.
should have a recirculation line, which we do not.
Well, again, I think I'm just bringing up the question, this is more than maybe just
We
turning
don't
up the
have
heat
hot
on the
water.
water
Like,
heater, you may just.
we
Most
don't
people,
have it.
well,
But-
Canadian is.
If you know
Yeah.
water, if you know anything.
Do you guys share with the whole building? Is it like one?
There's one hot water heater.
Also, what her problem is the building's problem.
Do you have hot water upstairs in the bathrooms, or did you say it took like 5 minutes to warm?
And I'm talking upstairs from you, I
Yeah.
don't even know about the other floor.
Yeah.
It just took a long time to get there.
And they won't wait 5 minutes. I think it's 45 seconds at the most, and they'll say.
No, it was a long time, because I don't wash my glasses under.
I'm just saying, when you start talking about how well.
I honestly think this was a new inspector, and she was very, very thorough. So I did want to have the conversation about the public space entrance, because again, we've never been cited for that. And some of the big questions from people were, do you have to have a sally port? And apparently we do, because we have to have a separate private entrance for detainees. And that's a CMR they cited. So a sally port is a secure-
House is a
Yeah.
cruiser that allows them to take a detainee out
Oh.
in a secured area and be safe.
Because I know, like, the newer stations, a cop car drives right in.
That's what that
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
Yep,
that's what it is.
Garage.
It's called a sally
Essentially
port.
garage,
Yeah.
so they can't.
It's a secure entrance, right? Because they said it's just a violation to be walking prisoners up essentially Main Street in broad daylight. They don't have any privacy, so.
Yeah.
So that was the first time. So I did discuss that with her, and she said that she was shocked, and she actually also told me that our cells were the worst she has ever seen in all the years she's been an inspector, which, again, used to hurt my feelings, but now I'm just used to people telling us how bad our station is, so.
And I think I told you that there's a trend right now on public bidding for cell improvement, cell upgrades. So I wonder if the DPH is just doing a trend,
Maybe it's a trend.
tagging everyone because they're, and they're having to do it.
Yeah.
They're spending $800,000 on.
Our problem is we don't have the plumbing accessible, because Pat had already looked into that, because we know we have to upgrade. We cannot. We also don't have the space. Those cells are
Physical space, I know that.
They're not big, like we just don't have the room to put the proper size cells and the proper, and they're supposed to be mold free. They're supposed to be, these are made of sheetrock.
Well, if we did, that, you would be reconfiguring
Yeah.
probably 3 spaces and adjacent.
Yeah,
It'd be a project.
it's just not, like I said, we've already been there, like we know that they're not good. So, some plexiglass, just a chip was out of it. They didn't even say we had to fix that, they just wanted us to be aware of it, but Jeff's already down there doing his magic, looking at it, trying to figure out, how to fix everything. So, that's it. I mean, we failed like usual. There was a lot of going back and forth because there was a permit application in 1987 to upgrade the cells because they didn't have the plexiglass on them and they were deemed a suicide risk. So that was done in 1987. There was a lot of back and forth with the DPH. They thought we were going to be not grandfathered because of that, but they made the determination through their legal department that we were considered grandfathered, but the problem is we can't find any data from any town office when those cells were constructed. The laws actually changed in 1979 that we would be held to water, toilets, ventilation, heating, bed structures, all of that came into January 1st, 1979, and we have no evidence of when those cells were constructed. There's no records in town. Brian worked with us yesterday. Everybody upstairs were really doing some serious digging for us, and I greatly appreciate their time on that. But we can't say when they were built because there's no records of when the police station actually moved into that space and they were built.
So, again, adding to the, I believe, 4 other reports previously that had to do with air quality,
Yep.
sanitation,
Yep.
plumbing violations, just adds to the list of.
Yep,
You've got a mini project in itself just to keep you whole until you build a building
Yeah.
in some
and I would
cases.
anticipate DLS coming back because we still have no heat, and as of October 1st, town's gonna get violated because that's been 2 years. So, it's just a whole lot of the same old, these state agencies are coming in, they're digging the town, and the town's like, cool. Like, I don't know what else to say, like, there's nothing, nobody can do anything about it, and we're still sitting here not knowing where we're gonna go, if we're gonna go, and, it is frustrating, but, it's not an easy fix.
And we've been talking about, and during the time we've been talking about, I've done some research, and there have been police departments in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that have been shuttered without notice by any number of entities. the Department of Labor,
Yeah.
Department of Health, Building Commission, and it's up to that town to figure out what they're gonna do, and it's
We have
ugly.
no plan. I mean, we.
What happened in those towns you investigated?
Well, unfortunately, they had multiple police departments or larger towns, so a station would close.
Oh.
But if you look for example, at, Russell, was it Russell who lost their police force and they had to bring in the police?
Well, they got a city police barracks right there, they could just call it a day.
Well, I think there's a whole number of things that say you have to do. You have to still provide cruisers and safety, but how do you do that when you have no place to operate out of?
We don't.
It seems like it's a competing question is how do you keep you whole and operating on your space while we
We're doing our
figure
best.
this out? Yeah.
We're doing the best we can at
Yeah.
this point, you know, I mean, it's just,
Well, I just wonder if there's anything this group or the town can do to keep you whole while we're trying to figure out the bigger.
Well, so I think Terry has the challenge of trying to come up with a plan of what's it going to take to try and get these new items fixed as best as we can.
Yeah, I don't know how to
Given,
deal with the entrance, that one is.
Well, so which ones can you fix, right? So
I think
there's
that
short-term,
Definitely
long-term
look at the
plans
some ones that
that
can be
assessed.
maybe addressed, which is, you're already looking into hot water and the Lexan.
Sure.
What's with the electronics?
Well, I think, Terry, what we can do is we can
that
give
was just the printout, they already have it.
Terry, we can give
Just so he
you
wasn't
we can give you a
there.
list and Deanna can give you a priorities of that list.
Right.
And, but for our purposes, although it's tied, it's not really anything we can do anything about in our role other than advise and keep with our report and our plan to find a new building and a new space for the police department.
It keeps the urgency on of things that need to be done.
Yeah, I don't mind being the voice of that, I just don't know if we can do anything ourselves or take on any task that would help in this way. If anyone has any ideas, feel free to bring them up.
I
few
guess I have
things.
one idea thinking about the extra entrance, just being that you have the staircase inside that goes up inside Town Hall, and you have straight and straight, so those two. What if you put like a divider wall,
It's a public entrance,
but if you like,
it's a public entrance.
put like a wall.
We still have to
over
walk them up the
stair-
sidewalk for the public entrance, can't do that, that's what they told me, so I know
If they came from the side of the building,
that's not safe for us or for them. You know what I mean, we can't walk them half a mile into the station, it's just, we need a new building, like, there's just no solution that's going to satisfy that report. I tried, I spent half an hour on the phone with her yesterday going, I don't know what to do, and she's like, you're not gonna do anything there, like, there's nothing you're gonna do. I mean, basically, my plan of correction is going to be, we have a committee appointed by the town, they are actively pursuing construction of a new building, and that's gonna be acceptable. It's just, there's nothing, I can't fix it,
Yeah,
so,
no.
you know, I mean, they know that. They have no, they're not gonna be able to really do anything. I mean, it's just other than as long as I submit what I
Unless they
have to
close
submit.
it down.
They don't have the authority to do that.
Oh, good.
So I will say, although this.
Sorry, I think,
Oh, sorry.
I know you're in the middle of their first comment.
There is an option, a short-term option that will not fix all the bills. We could make the south end of the town hall walk-in at ground level. We can do that.
With a cost.
Yes, we'll have to excavate,
Yeah.
create an entrance
I just don't think
on that
that's,
south
it's just
side of
not
the building.
worth it, though. That's the thing, if we can get a building, I hate to see people spend that kind of taxpayer money if we have forward progress.
I totally agree with that.
You know, I hate to see wasteful spending and inefficient spending. It's just,
I guess the question from me to you is, when is too long, right? Too long in the building, is it, I hate to say it, so if it's not 2 or 3 years, if it's 5, is that a much different issue than 2 or 3 in your opinion?
I mean, we've been doing it for as long as that police station's been there, so, I mean, I think the issue is, and I hate to hammer this again, we have some people in our community, and even in our town government, who thinks this is Mayberry. We have standards and responsibilities that are here. We have to meet those standards. We're given resources that put us about here. So policing has changed immensely. I mean, even in the last 5 years, we have changed so much. We have these standards that we have to meet, and the practices have changed. And I just think we have people that unfortunately don't have any knowledge, expertise, or background that think they do, and they're dangerous because they make these crazy assumptions and assertions in public meetings, and we just can't do what they're asking us to do.
Sorry, I think I trampled over David, I think so, I'm sorry, so finish, sorry.
In Brian Hughes' questions, answers, he's telling us what would a realistic timeline for a start of a project completion?
Yeah.
Design, 6 months. Competitive bidding, award, 3 months. Construction, 12 months. That's almost 2 years.
Probably would be.
And I believe that this is a very optimistic schedule. At best, that's not counting all the votes that we're gonna go through. Look at how many times Lennox, Waynesboro, Lee have all voted in order to get a facility built. It takes years to get it through there. So I disagree about wasting money. I believe that we should be chipping away at some of the low-hanging fruit that we can reach. I would say, logically, something like walking into the basement would be a great achievement in the big picture.
I think it's wasteful.
Looking
I
at
really do. I think it's
something
wasteful.
that's going to take 5, 10 years maybe.
Because she accepted my correction plan of, we are pursuing a new construction. So to put that type of money and effort and not to
2
mention.
years from now,
Yeah,
is
she
that going to
accepted
be
that. She
a
accepted that.
defensible
She
response?
accepted that. Listen, my cells have been failing for 20 years. So, I mean, they know our conditions are horrific. There's just, but people have just accepted it for what it is.
Anything else related to the reports, questions, comments? Yes,
A
Ryan?
couple of things. So, Becky, would it be possible to get these added to our site? Okay, so I think that's one item here.
I got you.
I'd like
Because I know you're
to,
going to ask.
I'd like to request, Terry, if you can start to put together a priority list of what it is we should be tackling from this, because there's a couple of things here, some are a bit more concerning than others.
I think the ventilation is sort of not really low hanging fruit, but that's something we can address and would not be wasteful. Given that,
I understand we're trying to expedite some work, but I don't know if this committee has any authority to ask Terry to do this. But I agree, I just don't know what the right
So I'm asking, I'm not directing, if we can do that.
To me, the fact that Terry is here is, I appreciate you. Like, that's what I will say. I appreciate your time.
I try to be here.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because it shows that you care
I
and
mean,
that
it's an
you're invested.
important issue, and, it does seem kind of a bit like a Gordian knot that we've got here. We have that appropriation for that correction of the toilets, where everything's, backing up and this and the other thing.
And sinking into the floor.
And that itself is like a $90,000 job that we have set aside for that. And it's going to be very disruptive because they have to come in through the back wall right near dispatch. And, the only way to get through that is like with a jackhammer for days on end. And you imagine how that is good for the miner.
I feel sorry for those workers around Gabby, man. She's going to be very protective of that space.
And again, that money is appropriated, but so far, we haven't really moved forward on that.
I've had conversations.
We can't.
So this is
we can't
funded?
uproot our lobby.
I don't know that they can function while that.
I know, that's the very problem.
But are they funded
Again,
projects?
I said Gordian knot.
Are they funded projects?
This is funded, this project is funded.
So you have
Unlike what Ryan's talking about with really,
So, I
this
think-
is so new,
Jeff and I talk regularly, very regularly.
Well, he's a prisoner down there.
He is, I keep him in my cells at my back in Call Dogs. And I will tell you, we have sat and talked, like, that plumbing project rips up our lobby, which closes us, we can't. So we've had the contractors in, we've talked about it, like, it's not something that is even doable, we can't remain open.
I know,
because-
it's a shame to have to actually spend that money.
Right.
You kind of say, even
Right.
though it's appropriated and been been essentially green lighted to do it.
But the question is, the enabling work that we're talking about has to take place, is that funded? So moving them out, temporarily putting them in another space,
But there is no, if
is
there's
that funded in that 90,000 or is that just?
No, that's not funded.
So that's
This is just
90
to make
plus.
Repair.
It's 90
Yeah,
plus.
this is just a repair.
Yeah.
I mean, this goes back to, the questionnaire here about, this question here. If the current design is approved and passes the town vote, how will the police department operate in the current space with health conditions for 3 years or longer, like the build period? The get it approved and build period. I think just say approved and passes the town vote, that's part of this 3 years, I'd say. So
It could be
again,
10
it
years.
is kind of unknown, but the only suggestion that I'm hearing is actually to purchase, not purchase, but lease trailers and put them in the lot there behind the building.
Sweet.
And,
We have plenty of parking there.
and if you want out, you have to kind of look at this.
The trailers are gonna have to come here. They can't go behind the building because there's no parking.
The cost of
Well,
an
they would get
emergency
rid of the car.
relocation
Bottom line.
is far more than you will ever want to entertain.
I know.
No way.
I know that, and to me, that just comes off the cost of the project when all is said and done. Acquiring land and doing these temporary things, you gotta say, we really only have a certain amount of money, and that's, even that's hard to get through it. And bottom line, if you start purchasing land and renting trailers, you have to make adjustments in the design of the building. I'm sorry. You've gotta face reality here. We don't have a limited check.
Absolutely. So what I am asking for, and the reason why I think this is important, Craig, is that if you can come up with a list of how you're going to attack this, you can probably assign rough timeframes for it. It will help inform us as to urgency of some of what we're doing, how this is all going to fold together, help to go into our report, will help to go to inform the public. These are all the things that everyone needs to know and wants to understand. What are we doing? How are we addressing it? What's the time plan? What's the cost? Those are all the things that everyone always wants to know, and this committee should be no different, even though I will absolutely say that this is beyond the reach of things that we're being chartered for, but I think it's prudent to have that information to help inform us.
Yeah, I mean, in other words, you're kind of saying, fix these issues, if you can, as many as you can, because you're kind of saying, hey, you gotta suck it up and be in there for the long haul.
Right. At some point, we may not win and get a, if that's the way the proposal comes through, is get a new police department, which I think it should be. So what are we going to do in the meantime? Because this takes time, to the point that Ms. Martindale was making before, is that it takes years to get through all this. And people should not be sitting there with non-functional toilets, breathing mold, carbon dioxide.
So in other words, you're saying maybe you do have to make that investment in the existing framework that we have.
Short term.
I agree, it's kind of like, you gotta kind of do it, but you kind of also have to realize, it's probably some.
So maybe I don't spend $2 million to get the,
Money,
the super ventilation system that takes care of everything, but, maybe there's a $500,000 solution that will help provide cleaner air for them to work within, but it looks a little less desirable.
A year ago.
But these are the things that we.
What happened, Jeff, I wasn't around.
You weren't here. That's what happened.
And to do fresh air ventilation, we might as well do heat pumps and full HVAC. And if we're gonna do it for the police department, we might as well do it for town hall too, and next thing we know.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's probably-
I see how that spirals out of control.
But, but then, if we had a plan of like, I have to do it for the police department.
Yeah,
I don't
well,
necessarily have
in a
to.
way, you can say that this is kind of a godsend, arguably, and the other report, this one too.
There's 4 more that.
It's
Pile them up here.
And I feel like that's all we keep doing is like one bad report after another, and it's not getting better. It's just
No.
getting
If
worse.
anything is getting worse.
We can
Not
get
gonna
a
get
plan, then maybe we can get it in front of the select board and start to have those real conversations of what are we going to choose to invest in to fix, and, low-hanging fruit, must-haves and, you know, everything else.
Or downrange health hazards that have to be addressed.
Yeah.
This is how we come through. This is, you have to you have to put together a plan for people to throw rocks at in order to make a better one to get through this.
That's not an oppositional about taking it on, it's just not something we have talked about, but if we feel that's something we want to, as the committee goes, and that we want to take some of that charge on, we can certainly vote on it and talk about it. I would think Don would probably want to be part of that if we did. I'm not opposed to it, I just
I guess
want
the
to
Zoom
know
might
my
work.
charge. Yeah, Zoom not gonna work.
He's driving, so it might be safer that he's not on Zoom.
I was assuming, like I said, he'd mount the thing right there on the speedometer area.
Okay, let's move on. So these are more just updates for the committee and for anyone listening.
What,
Number
item
5.
5.
So 5 is the final report, which is the culmination of all of this work we're doing to issue a report.
Yeah, you said you worked on that, and Ryan's worked on part of it.
So I will present through a limited email first, a draft version of it for the voting members to look at, but not to comment on. Give some time for you to look at it, digest it. There's a lot of placeholders with no information yet to say, where are we putting this? I'm not taking any liberties. I've just assembled all of the information that you and Lisa provided, Dave and Tony provided through our property assessment, Brian Hume's feasibility study. I've taken a stab at an executive summary, and then, which I think I've shared with you, and we've talked about it. The one thing I'm not going to do is the end result as a conclusion and a recommendation, and I am certainly not going to be the one just to sort of draft that. That has to be done in some team effort where we're all spitballing and talking about it and coming up with that. So
Agreed.
I think that exercise has to maybe just in November, because December is
So
at least what we're supposed to deliver unless we ask for an extension.
I would like not to ask for an extension on any of this. Let's deliver what we were asked to in the time we were asked to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to advance that piece, which is, it's just an administrative nightmare just to put it all together and make it look decent and all in the same font. It's just what I've been doing, so I can just give it over, you know.
So I'll say, if you want help with that or need help with that, please let me know. I'm happy to help you.
Yeah, I don't know if it might be easier just to sit down one day with the draft and after you've reviewed it, we can talk and mark it up, or whatever makes sense. But I plan on presenting at least a format next meeting. So we're on 6, unless we have any other questions about reports or the process of.
Yeah, discussion, more than likely, it's gonna end up with a lot of open-ended questions.
We probably have a lot more questions than we have answers,
Yes.
but the questions are the result of the
Yes.
reports.
This report is to inform the select board as to what we've observed, what we found, and where we think it should lend itself to, so.
Yeah, it's being pretty comprehensive and really spelling out that I don't expect that the select board's gonna have time to read our whole report and everything in it. So I think that would be,
Executive summary is going to have to be.
that's a telling piece of this, yes. So I'll need help with that. But I just wanted to give everyone an update on that. 6 is site status. So at this last meeting, the committee had asked Terry to reach out to the 2 other properties that were on our,
There are actually 3. Yeah.
on our list. And we asked that he engage in some discussion about cost and availability, and if the sites were available, so that we at least knew that. Since then, I've been instructed by 2 select board members, Bob Bishop and John Boyle, to have Terry not do any reach out for public property.
Correct.
That's all I know. And I just wanted this committee to understand that that directive has been rebutted.
Yes, John has made it clear, at least to me, definitely John, that he.
You're talking about John Boyd.
John Boyle insists that this building be located on town-owned property, period, end of statement. and he's adamant about that.
I believe there's an
Really is
email,
adamant
correct?
about that.
There's an email.
John did send an email to Deanna
Yeah.
outlining it in a much different way, but outlining it for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's outlined with a highlighter.
Yeah, he always, I like the way he replies in print that I can take, and I'm blind as a bat, I can take off my glasses.
I can't.
I felt like it was like he was screaming at me. Like it was.
No, it's just,
It just.
it's just the way, I think it's set as a default. But he feels strongly about that. And, truthfully, from what I have looked into, the properties that are available, the three that we've talked about, have, wildly, different costs, but, none of them are inexpensive.
Yeah.
And from what I understood, actually from the architect standpoint, I don't think he was terribly thrilled with any of them. You know?
Town on property. That's.
Oh, that was his favorite property for sure,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean that it couldn't work. That's not what he's saying. It's just not ideal for the program that he has built for Deanna's station based on what he knows she needs and
Well,
what
I
she's
mean, you
asked.
had problems down at your Crane and Company with like easements and such around the old model farm and the like. And of course, the existing building there, which is historic. You have, the property there across
Yeah,
from the
but
company.
we're trying to keep,
Yeah, okay.
That's-
Which is, it's not necessarily the greatest. It's two pieces that you'd have to buy for this.
oh no, we've done a very,
Yeah.
very thorough analysis.
Yeah,
on
no,
this
no,
property,
and
so-
that's part of the issue.
So I understand Mr. Boyle was clear in his direction that he did not want.
And the same with Mr. Bishop, that's correct.
Was the same language?
That, I was told directly by both individuals.
Okay.
They called, they told me, they asked me to report it back. I didn't know if Terry was gonna report it back, but then since then,
I mean, the
Deanna
six-
received an email, so it's coming from my lawyer now.
Mr. Boyle was on the email, I think, from, the origination of the, request that I do this, and practically called me up immediately to tell me, hold your fire, do not proceed. And of course, I do report ultimately to the select board. They're the board of directors. I'm the CEO here, this operation.
I should also preface this, Terry, too, that I didn't get a directive from the select board. It's not a vote, it hasn't been
No.
vetted
No,
by the other three
That's
members.
correct.
So
Yes,
this is
that
just
is
two members
correct.
telling us, hold off, and I have no charge, I'm not
You're
an
absolutely
employee.
correct.
I can't make anyone do anything, but that's what I was told.
Yeah,
I'm
Craig
just
is
trying to make
correct.
sure I understand clearly that both of them said no. That's fine.
Right.
For now, I guess, it doesn't mean it's no. Select board could vote differently and have a majority.
At the moment, they did not want me to proceed, because part of the charge, as I remember, was to ask them, by the way, if they could be public about it.
Yes.
That's another, I think, reason John didn't want to go down that road, just because, one thing that he doesn't really want it, but then to have the names out there, I don't know, was, you put the two together, he wasn't excited about
Yes.
it.
Understand?
Yes,
Mr. Nadeau, I think,
Is
yes.
it, I'm Al Nato. Is this a closed meeting, or are you going to accept comments from the audience?
we will, but we don't normally have people here, so we normally don't acknowledge public comment, but yes, we certainly can, but would you hold
Now,
while?
or do I need to wait?
Is
Actually, that's-
it something to do with the site status?
Yes,
I
Is
think,
it about site status?
Yeah.
yes.
Certainly.
so I think you should allow him to go.
I have some copies here. I was on the Board of Appeals for a little over 20 years. I was chairman a few times, so I'm familiar with zoning. You guys are missing something. If you look at the back of this copy, there's several copies here. There's an arrow.
Oh, yes, I see the arrow there, yeah, I see that arrow.
Okay?
I'm aware of the zoning and the bylaws that allow us to
Do
do
you
this.
realize that it pays no value to be looking for private properties. If you haven't got permission, you got to get permission from the zoning board of appeals for whatever property you have. And the owner of the property has to file for that request. So unless you have the property in your control, it's ridiculous to even be talking about it.
And you're not trying to convince us. We all wanted the First Street property. It was town-owned, it made perfect sense.
And it's right there, you got to go to the board of appeals for every one of the 8 zones in Dalton.
And our concern, our fear is that triggers a hearing, a public hearing, where voices can be heard and opposition can be met. And we were concerned with the current vote and the warrant vote that was made, that we would be treading on some sensitive
The
places.
vote that was taken to keep this residential, I don't believe is a legal vote. I don't believe it's a legal vote because it can't circumvent zoning. And if you want to change this to a specific item, then it's got to be a zoning change. And if it's a zoning change, then it's got to be approved by the Attorney General. And if the Attorney General determines that's spot zoning, it's out the question. Okay? So you're wasting your time if you're doing that. You've been working on this for how long now?
Over a year.
And you're no closer to making a recommendation then than you were today to start.
Well, we got more questions and recommendations than answers.
That's right.
So,
And I think that the vote that was taken was not only not legal, but it's detrimental to the people who took it. Because if you turn that thing over and look at the front, that tells you what can go in residential zones. This is an R3 residential zone.
R3.
R3, right? And take a look at R3 and follow it down to the third column, which says you can put up to 6 apartments in a structure in an R3 zone. Do you think the people who voted to keep this residential would rather see that versus a police station? I don't think so when they find out that's what they put their foot in.
we've been confronted with this history that we can't necessarily confirm that this lot was intended and voted on many years ago to have only 5 or 6 or 7 private developed lots. But it was never subdivided, so it's just a rumor that it has.
There was a thing that came around that had, I think, 6 or 7 lots laid out on the property in front of this building. But it was
There's
never
lease, right?
finalized. It was to see how many lots they could get. This is still an R3 zone.
Regardless.
And it's a 75 by 100 size lot that they laid out. Because that's the minimum you can have, right? So that never went through. I checked with somebody recently and asked if it went beyond just checking that out, and it did not. So this has never been issued as 6 or 7 potential building lots. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I'm one of these smart developers that I know I can go into a town and I can build a whole bunch of these rental apartments. Okay, and I'm just gonna
I work for a rental developer.
Okay? And if I find out that I can put 7 lots in there and put 6 buildings and 6 dwellings in each lot, I'm going to go after that. And I think that the people who put this in, that this was gonna stay residential, never found out that instead of having a police station here, I can have 42 apartments, or 36 or 42 apartments. I think they'll change their mind in a
Well,
heartbeat.
we know how they voted the last
I
time.
know how I vote. If I voted for that and I found out what I could get, I'd be going with the police rather than 42 apartments.
I'm pretty sure multifamily housing is completely out based on their last vote years ago.
You can't put it on,
Yeah.
because
They
it's
don't
right
have a
there in
choice.
front of you.
It seems to have worked, though. I mean, the vote has passed, and they've prevented housing from taking place on that site.
It seems like Mr. Nadu has said that that vote may not be,
It may not be legal. You can't override, if you want to change your zoning, you got to go to the planning board, and they've got to issue it, then you get a vote, then it goes to the attorney general. This did not change the zoning. This was what they might call a non-binding referendum. Their opinion.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening.
Very pertinent. Pardon? Yes.
Any other questions or public comments or thoughts? No? Okay. One more directive or suggestion that came from Mr. Boyle and Mr. Bishop was for the purposes of pricing only, that we look at the north side of this property being the very narrow side towards High Street, only for the purposes of pricing, so that Brian can place it on that site, even though we have no public will that we can use it. I want that to be clear, but for the purposes of this exercise, we've been asked to use that site by both Mr. Bishop and Mr. Boyle. I have instructed Brian Humes to do a test fit on that, but I want to preface that by the test fit could come back with something less than what we want. And I just want that to be, people to be aware of that, that it may come out that we can only fit X amount because of the site constraints, the setbacks, whatever's on that site. I don't know yet. I really don't. I've tried to vision it out there and place it, and
So I thought at the last meeting, we were going to ask him if it was feasible.
And I thought that was the other thing that was decided at the last meeting, that
Rather than just go blindly.
was gonna have some thoughts.
well, that's why I said he's in the process of test fitting it on the
Oh, is
site.
he working on that? as-
Well, he's not working on it, but he'll have it by next week. That was
We
what we-
voted
Yeah.
for
So-
yes or no, does it work or not on that site?
Right, so is he doing more than what we had asked?
Well, the only way for him to know if it fits on that site is he's going to lay it out on the site. So he's going to do a test fit with a
That's how he's gonna
12,500 square foot building, support staff buildings and everything that was in the program, and then he'll come back and say, you can fit this, but you might not be able to fit this, or I can't fit any of it on the site, it's not going to work. He has to look at it, and he hasn't done that yet.
So-
But again, I'm being told that the north side is a focus, and I've been told by the town basically to back off of this site. So I'm at a point where I have to,
You can only play to one master.
yeah, I feel like we're on a fence here, and we don't have a full direction to move forward. The town has said to us, don't use that site.
Well,
We
they
send
said
it
don't
out.
use that site.
Well, I don't know
that we've had a
what they say.
conversation with any
Well, it's
nearby
all one
residents.
site.
It's all,
I don't know if they've ever really heard anything, that's the problem.
I
it's one
agree with
parcel,
you.
Yeah.
Logistically, this is all one parcel. So we've all been told this is all residential lots. We have gone through the assessors, the building inspector, and everyone. It is not. This is one parcel. So we've all heard that the vote happened, but I agree with what Mr. Nadu said. I was there for that vote. I know exactly what it was. This is one parcel. It's never been subdivided. It's never been done.
No,
Am I
it's-
correct in that?
The senior center is one building on a 5.3 acre
Correct.
lot. Yes.
So, yes, I believe when we had that vote, I believe they thought it was that piece of property. We are talking about same parcel, different location on the same parcel, if
Right.
that makes sense.
But because of that contentious kind of conversation, I don't want to be seen as going against it. So I want to make it clear it's for the purposes of
Yes.
yes or no.
Right.
And if we can assign a cost to it, if it's a yes or an idea,
Yeah.
then we can
I
use
think-
that to maybe put as part of the report.
And I
That's
think it's
all
a
I'm
conversation
suggesting.
we need to again bring up, because I think that when you're looking at saving between $1 and $3 million by not having to do a property acquisition, I think that's a conversation that many taxpayers would prefer over spending money because somebody doesn't want us in their neighborhood.
All right.
So I hate to be blunt when I say that, but I think the conversation needs to be had again, because there are multiple residents that have come to our tours and said, we do support this. We didn't go to that meeting. So I think it's a conversation that should be had again, with Brian Humes present, so he can maybe talk to their concerns and their fears of what their issue is having us in their neighborhood. I think we're pretty good neighbors. I think the people that currently live by us would say that we're good neighbors.
Would that be
I would
a
hope.
task or something that the same group that was the public engagement group would want to kind of organize and?
Yeah, I mean, should we do that before Brian says, or should we go back and revisit this entire parcel again? I don't know, I mean,
I just don't want to put something out blindly that will make it to the public and they see you put a building on this site
Right,
and then
after we
blow,
said no.
yeah, so I just want to preface the community to say, hey, this is all it's for. So
Yes.
I would love if the public engagement group that had done the workshops would,
They've been disbanded, so.
they've been disbanded, who would you reband? Just for the purposes, and I can give you Lisa, because Lisa's, believe it or not, has more interest in the community engagement than she does in the in the financing, because there's more rewards out of that. So she would really like to help, and we have money available. So if we can find a way to use her and help defer it from you guys, that's fine, if you want to consider that. But I would love some ideas on what you think you want to do. Is it one big workshop where it's really everyone, we feed them, we get them into a place and it's an event, not just a boring meeting that someone has to come and listen through? I think Lisa said if you feed them, they will come, and she had a lot to say about how you set up a event. So I'm just thinking that she might help us if you're interested in using it. I'll let her know if you, let me know if that's something you want to do. Or you can call her yourself, Brian.
Mr. Nadeau has a question, if he can.
Oh, sure.
One other question, sorry, about this issue, is you've got to find a way to include the entire town. What you've been getting so far is special interest groups. Okay, I heard at one of your meetings, and I've not paid a lot of attention to your meetings, but I watched their repeat on the September 4th meeting. I watched it for about 10 minutes and got frustrated, so I shut it off. But you guys haven't gone to find the information you need from the right sources. The town is outside of you, and you're listening to special interest groups. You had a meeting where you had 40 people attended, and you did a survey. That's a special interest group.
Certainly wasn't our
The
intent.
whole town. I'm in favor of this site because I want to build that building as cheap as I can. I want to give them everything they want, but I sure as hell, I got a site right here that's shovel ready. I don't need
Yes.
to go out and tear a building down and cut trees down and buy the place first.
And we don't have to take a property off the tax rolls.
I was on a prudential committee at the fire district when they were looking at the Dalton garage for a new fire station. And I was opposed to that, because you can't put fire trucks in that building. First, you gotta tear it down and build a new one. What's the purpose? Okay, and that's what you're doing here. You're looking at a freaking toast horse in the mouth, and you're gonna go out and spend $1, $2, $3 million. You're looking at other sites. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I'm a taxpayer. I'm paying for a new school that I'm not gonna finish paying for before I die. And now I'm not even gonna see this police station built before I die, the way it's going.
I agree.
I'm 91 years old, and you're talking about the station's gonna take 5 or 6 years.
You're looking good for over 100.
I feel 100.
Well, Mr. Nader, we would appreciate you to spread the word. We try to get it out through Facebook, through social media, through,
Code Red.
yeah.
Do what they do with the annual report. Hire Boy Scouts to go around and put it in paper boxes or on the doors.
We love it.
That's
if we
what
had
the Boy
money.
Scouts do. They'll do it for free. Just get the paper together and give it to them.
It's not a bad idea.
That's quite an intern.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, yeah, we're always happy with the way the Boy Scouts distribute the annual reports, no doubt about it. It's too bad, come to think of it, I know it's water over the dam. Could have had something in the annual report that was put out, half a year ago, in April of 25,
There was
when
nothing
they,
to put in it.
no, they could have come up with, something to see the level of interest and show the.
We did have something about the building committee in the report.
Did you?
Yeah.
But I mean, was it a separate item
It
or
was
just
in our-
included in
probably
the book?
our summary, right? I think it was in our summary of the, like, that we were pursuing a building and the
Yeah,
building committee
well,
appointed.
I gotta be honest with you, I question how many people really read that baby
That's the
cover to
problem.
cover.
It's how do we reach the bulk of our community members? We try, we did a survey with QR code, we did, and that was available on flyers that we put everywhere. We did, we've done social media, we've done,
I pushed that Facebook page down everyone's throat and no one shared it.
you know,
It was frustrating. No one shared it.
yeah, so it's, we're just, you know?
It's frustrating to get, it's hard to get town consensus. It really is. It's hard to get town consensus at an annual meeting, and
I will
the
say-
attendance is tough.
I will say that everywhere I go, and I obviously live here and work here, so I hear that there's a great amount of support. There's a small group that has their own personal agenda. I won't call them up by name today, but that's fun times in the future, right? But I think we have an overwhelming amount of support in our community. We really do. I think everybody knows our department is in bad shape. Some people are more familiar than others because they take the time to tour it and, you know, see what we're living with. But I do think we have a lot of support. I really do. And I appreciate that very much from our community. And, you know, but it's how do we get the word out? That's, you know, because when it comes time, we're really going to need that support. So.
Any other site status or site question topics? Okay, thank you. Questions and answers have to do with a series of questions and answers that were collected by the select board so that people that are unaware of what this is. And we've been, or the Becky really has been collecting all of these questions from various peoples and getting answers. It's not a complete list yet, so we're not going to issue it as a public document.
It is helpful, what's come in so far.
But when it is complete, we will publish that. It will be on the website. We'll put it out on Facebook. We'll share it here, and it'll be a comprehensive document once all the answers have been given.
That's the list.
Yeah, it's a 20 question list. Some redundancies, but for the most part, if people are interested in what the questions are, they'll feel free to look at that document.
Well, so far we have like 11 answers.
Yeah. Looks like Brian Humes answered all of his questions that he was given. The town manager did answer his questions. Thank you, Terry.
Yeah, that's from last spring.
Along with the select board.
Yeah.
The town manager and the select board were the same.
Okay. And what other ones are we outstanding right now?
I have to look.
So this goes back to April 9th.
That was when it was initially
Yeah.
gathered. It was in a joint meeting of the select board and us at Oconee.
Yeah, and nothing happened.
And then they were separated out and
Yeah, it kind of died on the vine.
So it's something we have to answer because it was asked from the select board, so we will respond to it. It'll be part of our report and we'll also publish it. But it's not full yet, so
No, I
bear with us
understand.
until it's a
Yeah.
comprehensive.
We only got 11 out of the 20, and you might even fine tune some of the ones that have been given.
Yes,
There's
and if
repetition on this list, there's repetition of the questions.
And what I would suggest is the voting members really look at the answers. If you want clarification to the answers, feel free to ask for that. And yeah, we can do that. We don't have to leave them as just what they are, so.
No.
But this will be an ongoing topic for the next 2 or 3 meetings. That's Dave's copy. Right?
Yeah,
You give it
well,
to me?
that came from last April.
He's just looking to distribute it. You have a copy to distribute?
Yes, I have.
I'm gonna keep this one,
You
if you
keep
don't
that
mind.
one.
Maybe Jeff wants a copy.
You decide who wants it.
Just came out of the archives.
But again, the questions have been modified slightly from that list because some of them
that's
are
okay.
repeat questions, but
Yeah.
you'll get the gist. So that will be an ongoing discussion, and eventually we will, in the next meeting, we'll probably unveil the answers and give that to the community to see. Next steps. Maybe someone can help me out with next steps, where we are with what we have today.
We have to finish tying up the questions, we have to see if we can get some more information that I would like to have and put into the report. And then I guess we have a new effort that we want to take on to try and see about bringing up the discussion again about this particular site, understand people's concerns about the special interest group, and I could certainly see that and appreciate that, but we want to make sure that we're being open and upfront about how we're going to go and proceed with this before we just drop things in people's laps. Just trying to make sure the optics are correct for that. Other than that, I don't know what more is there to do.
We can't advance any more property discussion as we've been told.
That's fine.
At the moment, and if that changes, then great, but at the moment, it is.
I think I'd like to, again, myself, hear from Brian Humes, as you've laid out, what the ability is to fit something back here. I mean, that in itself will, open up, some, I don't want to say questions, but it'll kind of give us some more direction than we have now. Because, depending on what he says, I agree that maybe we shouldn't give up on this space out here.
I agree.
I really don't think we should. Again, I think what Mr. Nadeau said is, seriously, if somebody comes forward and wants to do a project, because they were all worried about when we were doing the library housing project in the old Nessicus, and we had the library grant and a historic connecting it, and it failed. From my understanding, it mainly failed because the neighbors were concerned that there was going to have to be some Section 8 apartments mixed in with the elders in the building. And that, I mean, it failed probably for more than that, but that was one of the reasons that I heard.
It's a much denser project though.
But it was a shame. We had
Library.
that massive grant from the library, state library, and, it all went for naught, which was a shame. That project died on the vine. And, when you kiss that money goodbye, it's kind of sad. Well, I must say I love our library up here. I still love it, but c'est la vie.
So do we want to add some, I don't know what that community meeting is, that larger meeting that we're going to try to put together? What do we want to call it? Because it's a little bit different than what you've done so far. It's more of a town meeting,
It's townwide meeting.
town hall meeting, call it, whatever it is. Something that makes it more monumental than just, oh, you're going to be about the police department. It's just going to be a few people talking. Maybe it's more of an event.
We could find new ways to market it, and that's fine, but, I would like participation from, everybody that's here, and then ideally the select board, because apparently they are very opinionated as where and how they want this, so they can come and
I think there should be
enjoy the
a
discussion.
joint meeting of the select board and public safety along with Brian and the town.
Yeah, open it.
And we're all in front and we're all
There you
talking
go.
the same thing.
Put it out there, and if you really feel strongly about it, then come with your justification other than not in my backyard.
I think we're going to find a challenge though when it comes to needing some money to do something and having zero. I've asked for money for mailings, Terry, from the office, and Lori's been very clear about, we don't have a budget for giving you $700 to do surveys.
It is kind of true. I mean, I guess we shoulda, coulda, woulda, maybe been a little more proactive about obtaining some monies at the last meeting.
Well, we asked for monies, let me be clear, in the ARPA. We asked for a $10,000 slush fund to be able to use for this, and we were,
What,
it was
you didn't
refused.
get it?
Nope. It was
Why not? And why
Select
wasn't around
board
for
shut
that?
it down. Yeah, I don't know, was it select board or was it the finance committee? Or both, but they shut it down. They wouldn't, I was on vacation and they just said no.
I'm surprised, a little surprised about that. to be
But,
honest.
so I really,
I was not here for the whole ARPA thing, but there was, a lot of money that we.
oh, Deanna gave up $100,000 money of ARPA to not get something fixed, to put it towards this. And we asked for 60 for architect, 10 for, grant writing, and another 10 for
Say those
stuff.
in the center of town.
Yeah.
There you go.
So if there's,
What we have.
yeah, if there's any money that can be allocated, this would help this committee advance and create a more, I guess,
My impression is that ARPA money's still around, but that it's all been designated. Right.
oh, sure it is, yeah. Yeah, you can't change it now, and it's got to be spent by next December or it goes
Right,
away.
yeah, there's
So
something.
we're going to have to spend down Brian's money or we'll lose it. So at some point, something has to trigger for
He
him.
probably wants to do some billing for whatever he's been charged with.
Yeah, but he's got about 80% of his contract is still
Wow.
intact yet. We haven't done anything. We've been, we can't do
Yeah.
anything. We can't have him design anything. We don't have a building. We don't have a space. We have no
We
money.
have no site control.
And we have no direction from a lot of the town leadership has been my struggle.
Yeah.
And it's not one person, it's just no one knows what to do, and no one has a plan to get out of where we are right now.
Yeah,
And
kind of stuck, like you said.
it's been a challenge.
Have we maybe thought meeting with Lennox and Lee officials? I mean, they got this off the ground, and I know you had said there was multiple votes. There wasn't. There
No,
sailed
Lennox
right
was a
through.
one, yeah.
They sailed right through with no issue. I mean, I guess maybe they had space that, you know.
Yeah, they had a site,
Right.
and, let's call a spade. They have like a lot of money. They have a lot of money.
Lennox have pot money.
You see what they collect in, hotel, motel, and restaurant, the taxes every year? It's like amazing. I wish we had their problem.
So they had
Millions,
money at that
millions
time
of
of that vote.
dollars.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Come in, and, it's a wealthy town to begin with.
Yeah. So Lee, I did speak to the Lee Building
Yeah.
Department. I talked to Gordon Bailey, who's on that, and he said, yeah, come down and talk to us. That was really early on, and we got so sidetracked. But yeah, let's talk to Lee and say, how did you get through opposition? How did you solve this? What was, it's a bigger project and has a lot more pieces
You know,
to
we
it.
are far less project than they are. Like,
So
they
maybe-
are multi-buildings and
Yeah, it's DPW and it's
Yeah.
everything mixed in, but something similar maybe.
I think the difficulty, and not to drag this meeting out because I'm starving, but the difficulty is we just sometimes don't row in the same direction, and I don't mean us as a committee, I mean, people are like, well, I want to see the police and the fire department have a building together. We can't even find a site for the police department. There is no way we're going to find a site because the fire department needs to be central. We don't have that requirement. We just don't. People don't understand that.
And the
Because
fire
our-
department is an independent entity,
They
it has
are not
nothing
part
to
of
do
this
with
Yeah,
us.
it's a
government.
governmental
There's
problem, is
so
a
many
real
issues,
problem.
but I hear that repeatedly by town officials. We are not there. We cannot do that. Stop wasting time and energy even discussing it. It's not an option. Regionalization, not an option. Stop discussing it. Like, it's just, we cannot force ourselves onto other communities that do not want that. So stop it. Like,
Well, it's
stop.
also to do with money, Dan, so everyone thinks there's this attachment of this
There's
big,
not.
big pot of money,
There's
and,
not.
and
It's-
to be honest with you, till you show it to me, it's just
There's not.
talk. So,
It's,
yeah,
it's just time wasting and distracting and, the focus is our building and I know that sounds selfish and so be it, but it's our building and we are in trouble over there. We're having some difficulties.
we need to focus on our own stuff and our own problem, and bringing other communities in and helping them seems unfathomable at this
My
point.
priority is Dalton, not any other community. My priority is our safety and public safety here. That's it.
If someone shows me a bill and an allocation on a budget that says we have $4 million if we build a police station here and we regionalize it, it just doesn't mean anything yet. It's just a checkbox. We might have money. How much? Who knows? What requirements? We don't know yet. So way early for that. Let's find out how much the building is on a general basis now that we're talking about this, because people are asking for that information more than ever. And I didn't want to have to give them an estimate, but I think we're going to have to give something, Brian. I don't know if you agree.
Absolutely.
I know Dave and I have talked about this, but I think you just got to give something for people to grab a hold of and say, yeah, what is this? Okay.
Well, I think the difficulty too is the town officials who are already jumping ahead going, well, we can cut this, we can cut that, we can cut this. You don't even know the cost yet. Stop trying to cut our building until you know. I mean, come on.
And I think that's a good way to do this is,
Holy moly, like, let's find a number first and then worry about it. Because, like, we're trying to cut things we need, and unfortunately, you took a basement and threw us in a basement 50-plus years ago when we had 2 or 3 police officers. We now have 23 employees in the same spot made for 3 people. So can we not make the same mistake, Dalton, and go backwards and keep cutting corners and, oh, well, I don't think we need that, but you have no level of expertise to say that. So, I just, it's so frustrating to me to keep hearing the town officials say, well, we'll cut this and cut that. You don't even know. You don't even know what you're talking about. So please stop. Like, it's embarrassing to me at this point. It's very frustrating with what we live in and people are already trying to cut our building when they don't even know what we need or why we need it, or what the cost is going to be. So when we get that, then we can talk about if it's astronomical, we need to make cuts. I'm a taxpayer too. I don't want to spend money I don't have to either. So I am very sympathetic to that cause, but let's just get the number and then worry about where we're at with that, instead of cut before we even know.
So it will be several weeks. So if we get to the High Street side and he does his analysis and he says, yes, it will, we will then instruct him to do a cost estimate based on some hypothetical information we'll give him. We'll have to decide what that is about the infrastructure of the site, how it shares with the senior center. There'll be some back and forth, I would assume, about that. It will probably take him a good 3 weeks to produce anything after he says, this is what it looks like. And then we're getting into those dangerous months now of November where he's going to come back with a cost estimate, and we're not going to react to it, but we'll have to, that would be part of our report, I guess. But we're going to be really close to the end of our charge and our time, so I don't know how much we can advance other than
Well, let's
get that information.
He's got his task right now. Let's see what he comes back with, and then we'll direct from there.
Do we want him to do anything other than that at the moment? Do we want to test fit on any of our other test sites? Do we want to take it to
I don't
that?
think we should go against what the select board's directive was. I mean, they are pretty adamant.
Well, we're not talking to him, right? We're not talking to him, we're not negotiating.
I gotta talk to him.
No,
Eric's
I
gotta
understand,
talk to him.
so, fine, we'll stay with what.
You don't.
Let's finish the task that we have. Let's see what this comes back with, and then we should be meeting, a couple of weeks. You say it's going to be a week, so let's meet again in 2 weeks, and then we can pull the direction right or left on how to proceed from there.
I don't know if I have enough information to say this correctly or accurately, so I don't want to say. I want to ask you, Terry, were you given any directive or any information about what size the building wants to be? I know we have a 12,500 square foot footprint right now based on a 1,000 square foot reduction that Deanna made with Brian. So it was originally 13.5, now it's 12.5.
12.5, I didn't want to know.
Yeah, it's down to 12.
I heard 13.5.
It was.
I think Deanna makes the good point that if possible, we should start with, the 12, now 12.5. Start with that and get an estimate on that and then work from there. I do believe that there's opinions about whether it's needed to be that big, okay? But I don't think it's wrong to say, get that first and have it detailed enough that you can, the architect, I hope, can show us a way where we can say, oh, well, okay, we need to cut this off here or something, remove, parts of it to bring it down, and that they can say, oh, okay, that's gonna, that 1,000 square feet is gonna save X.
The hearing, right, is the training room.
Yes,
What
true,
people
that
are-
is true.
But what people keep forgetting, the training room triples as the emergency operations center, which I applied for a $3 million fund from the federal government on that, to fund that with backing from Senator Warren, Congressman Neal, the emergency management of the state, and I think everyone keeps forgetting about that.
Well, so where's that stand from your viewpoint?
February, but we'll find out in February if we get any piece of that
Okay.
pie. But we had support from all of those politicians, which they're the ones that did.
Well,
it.
that would be
They know this.
tremendous.
They know this.
Well,
You don't because you were
no,
not
I
here.
just
They
arrived
know.
on the scene, so
But it triples as an emergency
it's
operations
a great
center.
excuse here.
So we have to have emergency management space. We currently do not. It triples as a meeting room for the community. This is it. This is the only space we have for a meeting room. That is usable for community meeting space. That's what it's for. We
Okay.
are desperately in need of community meeting space. And for us to do our training, which by the way, we are state mandated to complete with no space to do so. So then we gotta pay to go elsewhere. It's ridiculous. We keep wanting to cut because they think we can do things the way we did in 1960. We cannot. The standards have changed. We need to change and stop cutting things that we really shouldn't be cutting because it's just gonna put us back into the basement where we are currently. Because we just want to, we never want to do things correctly. We just always want to take the shortcut and the easy way out. Dalton. Thank you. I have no filter because I'm hangry.
So we should, I'm sorry.
Mr. Nady has a question.
Oh, sure, sorry.
On that model, you're talking about this property back here. Don't forget, there's a big culvert that runs under.
Oh,
there.
I know, yeah. Oh, it's been,
Maybe the only way you can fit a building back there is 2 stories.
that's an option. But again, it's cost opposed to convenience, so, yeah.
And the people want to know the dollar figure before they say yes.
And it's backwards, we know, but it's the only
That is
way to
true.
get it.
Good night, Al.
Yeah,
Thank you.
well, we knew in the beginning that it was $800 to $1,000 a square foot.
Yeah, and it's.
So it's a mathematical equation.
You were
as to what it
throwing
might cost.
numbers around on our conversation.
Yeah, I don't want to throw them around here. But I
We're
want to
talking
make
about
sure,
square footage.
I want to get back on, let me get back on the agenda, guys.
Yeah,
So
the agenda is,
let's get out of here. So items within 48.
Jerry, question for you. If, going back to the town hall meeting.
where are we going back to?
The town hall meeting that we were discussing,
Yes,
inviting the whole town to a meeting.
yes,
Obviously, if we did that, we wouldn't be able to have it here. Does it cost the town anything to use one of the schools?
no.
Okay.
I think we're charged to
And
use that.
actually, we're in the thinking stage about having the planning board meeting down there November 19th or whatever it is, 19th.
So we could use the auditorium, maybe? Auditorium would be a part of that arrangement, we could use that,
Use what?
the auditorium, Wacona High School auditorium.
Well,
We
yeah.
use it for the annual meeting, so, yeah.
Town meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, if you make arrangements, they have to, allow us to go down there for no charge.
Okay.
Because we're governmental agency. But you have to make arrangements well in advance. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't think they charge for, what's costs for the, person to come in and make sure it's cleaned up. I don't
I think
think
that's
they
only
charge.
during vacations and stuff.
We used one of the larger rooms upstairs off the main lobby, and there was nothing. They had a tech person come in, they opened it up, it was all part of their
Yeah.
offer.
Yeah, they, as long as they have it, known, they certainly will tell you go bye-bye if you jump on them and say, how about tomorrow night, No.
So there's a free venue, which is good, because we have no money,
That's what
right? So, there we go. That's a great idea. Thanks, Becky. Anything else that we didn't cover, that we need to?
Sounds like we need a bake sale.
Car wash.
I'm in.
Set the meeting for next, do you want to do a month from now, bringing us into October? Or 2
I
weeks?
think 2 weeks.
Go 2 weeks? Can you do 2 weeks, Ryan?
Checking, sir. Not on Thursday. I think,
Okay. Doesn't have to be a Thursday. You want to say October
October 8th.
8th? That would work. I'm just trying to think, what would we accomplish between now and that date? Do you want an extra week for community planning? And it would certainly give me a little more time for the report too, because I want to put the report out that date. Could we make it the 13th?
The
The
13th.
13th is.
Oh, well, that week, anytime that week would work for me, so.
We have a select board meeting on Tuesday night.
Okay.
Planning board on Wednesday night.
Thursday, are you Thursday normally bad, Ryan, or just that?
It's just, recently. So which day is this?
I think we're looking at the 16th right now for
Thursday,
I
Ryan
can-
can't do Thursday.
Well, no, I can do that Thursday.
Okay.
Do we want to do it at 5:30? Good?
I
5?
can-
Sure.
6, okay, sir.
5:30.
Do you want to make it a little later? Ryan, 6 work better for you?
I just remember Don.
Capital Planning
Tried
Committee?
not to
They're small.
have it too late.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe they can go in there.
I'm okay with the 16th at 5:30.
We'll do the October 16th at 5:30. Is it available?
I think
It
that
is
seems
available.
like a good date to do. That gives a little bit more time to I would hope we might hear something from, Brian.
Brian by then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we may have to have a midway interaction, Ryan, where we can maybe get together, not in a forum fashion, and just hammer some stuff out.
We're talking about Brian chewing up some money. Why don't we get him here so we can talk?
Well, that would be the next thing, is that if he's going to present some high street design, we'd have him come in.
Yes,
Talk it
please.
through, yeah. No,
Yes,
it wouldn't
please.
just be on the phone, no, he'd come in. Now, he has 3 site visits still available. Yeah, so he has the big unveil at the end, but he has 2 other ones he
Do
can
you
give
think
us.
they'll be ready by the 16th?
He's an architect, he might not be. You have to deal, it's a time issue with architects. They take the time they need.
Yep.
We gave him an original schedule, he abided by that, and then we took him off schedule, and now it's
Hit or miss.
Yeah, we have to work with him. He was in a very busy
Reality.
period, he ignored me for like 2 weeks, and then he came out of his hole, and then Deanna called him and yelled at him, and started calling people back. So,
why anybody would be surprised at that.
can we get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
It was a little bit-
Yeah, Brittany over here.
Thank